I am Carmelita. I am 46.
I'm Amy. I'm 48.
I'm Leah. I'm 47.
I'm Katie, and I'm 44.
I'm Heather. I'm 46.
Welcome back to Interwovxn's second season of 2022, featuring conversations centered on sisterhood and, as always, celebrating and supporting women in middle life. We here at Interwoven are excited to exchange support this season with Renaissance Theater Works, founded and led by women, celebrating 30 years of theater by women for everyone, and is the nation's second oldest professional theater dedicated to gender balance. RTW produces 3 intimate shows per season in Milwaukee's Harbor District. Check out their website and reserve your tickets today at r-t-w.com and find them on social media. In today's episode, biological sisters Leah and Amy talk about their closeness in age, coming of age, their experiences with women's health issues, including endometriosis, fibroid-tumors, hysterectomies, and surgical menopause, self-care, rediscovering self and relationship, self-compassion, and the importance of grace. Remember to hit subscribe so you can keep coming back, and to visit our website so that you can sign up for our newsletter and access all of our resources. Find us at interwoven.com. That's interwovxn.com. A huge thank you to Colleen Webb for providing this season's music.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Leah. So I'm Amy. I'm 48. I'm a mother of 2. Have a son who's 24 and a daughter who is 20. I enjoy cooking, going out to eat, and watching football and basketball with my family. I'm a social worker by career, and right now I'm working as a guidance counselor. My passion is really just spending time with family.
And I'm Leah. I'm 47, the younger sister. I'm a mother of 2 big boys. They're young men. They're 16 and 20. I'm a massage therapist and a small business owner. I love to cook. I love all of the dogs.
All the dogs.
All of them. I'm an introverted extrovert.
Oh, me too.
So let's talk about what it was like to grow up together.
Okay. I would say we were besties. We just played all the games, made up our own games. We made our own fun.
Yeah, we were excellent. Excellent at making our own fun.
Yeah.
When we were younger, we were definitely built-in best friends.
Right.
Only being 15 months apart. Not that it's unique, but it is special because of the fact that we were also peers. There wasn't a defined boss.
Right.
Although I think you were kind of the boss.
Probably. I probably was the boss. But it was fun too, even in grade school, because we were so close in age. We were only a grade apart. And when we shared a grade, when we were in 7th and 8th grade, it was fun being in the same classroom. Didn't we have to sit next to each other too because we were alphabetical?
Yeah.
Is that how it worked?
We were more partners in crime at that point, where there was some cheating involved. We had a whole racket going.
We sure did.
Yeah. But I do feel that also that things got complicated as we became teenagers. And even just growing up, the fact that we were so close in age, developmentally, we switched roles a lot. I was taller. I, being the younger sister, was giving you hand-me-downs, which I know was tough for you, which I didn't realize until I had my own children, how crappy that probably feels. We switched roles a lot just because of how close in age and the fact that we were really developmentally going through the same thing at the same time. And I think that was harder for you.
Sometimes it was harder, but I also appreciated it at times too, because, we're moms now where we talk about all the things, right? With your kids growing up. And mom wasn't like that. So you got your period first.
Yeah.
And so when I got mine, then I was like, girl, how do you do this? How do you use a tampon?
That's right. I did have to tell you about that.
Yeah, we were on vacation. And I was like, I want to go swimming. How do you use this tampon? And you told me. And then I was like, why does it hurt so much? You don't have it in all the way. So I appreciated that because, there were certain things mom wasn't gonna or couldn't really teach. But I think the envious part came, you dated first, you had boyfriends first. I was already in high school and you were in grade school and going to the skating parties and you had boyfriends that were living in different cities. It was just one. So I was behind in that way. Yeah. What other ways? Clothes.
Those things were never on my radar. It was just what I was going through.
Right.
But I imagine for you, being the older sibling, that was kind of like, what the heck?
Yeah.
One of the things we've talked about being built-in best friends, but also something that I more struggled with was as we got older, we were always compared to each other. I am the only non-athletic person in the family, the only one. And there's 6 people total in the family, and I was the only one that just did not get that gene. So I always thought that there was, in our culture, sports are so prized and it's so important that you're involved in them. And even though I did and sucked, like I always kind of felt like, what is wrong with me that I'm not good at this? Now I could care less. That is one of the joys of midlife.
Right.
Yeah, but it was also, we were constantly compared. And so in my view, you were always winning. I was just good for playing Barbies. So that was hard for me. And then even as we hit teenage years, it was still constantly being compared.
That is very interesting to me. So we went to Luther Prep. We stayed on campus, which is important to note because we still lived with each other.
Yes, boarding school. We went to boarding school.
It was a boarding school. And so from my perspective, you were the popular, pretty one. And that was kind of a point in our life too, where we were finding our own, own friends, own ways, just kind of figuring out who we were. I always felt like I was a bother to you, which I probably was in the morning. I'd be like, good morning, Leah. And you're like,
yeah, you were cheering. I'm not a morning person to this day. So how would you feel about that now?
I still think you're the prettier sister.
That's funny.
But it doesn't bother me.
Okay, so that's childhood.
Yeah, that's childhood.
But I think all of that is kind of the healthy, normal stuff.
For sure.
How would you describe our relationship now?
I think we have to talk about just even as adults, we still were in different places in our lives. I had kids first, so our lives kind of were parallel, but not. But I think through motherhood, our lives were pretty consistent because our kids were so close in age. Now that our kids are grown, I would say we've evolved back into besties again. Be who we are.
I would agree with you. I think that when our kids were younger, I felt like we were kind of leading more separate parallel lives.
Right.
We were definitely focusing more on our kids. There were other extraneous things going on in our own personal lives that definitely affected that, where I don't think we were as connected. Obviously the love has always been there, but I don't think that we were as connected. And now that the kids are older, we are, I would say, even more so. I'm so enjoying our relationship now.
Yeah, me too. And I think what happens too is like when your kids are small and then and your marriage is still young, at least for me, I didn't want to confide in anybody. I think in that way, not allowing people in to support you and to be there for you naturally keeps a little bit of a separation, I guess.
Would you do that the same now?
No. If I could go back time, I'd be like, girl, what are you doing? Everybody goes through stuff. But that's the older me when you're like, yeah, everyone goes through stuff. And now I'm giving kids advice and, saying, hey, you need to find someone to talk to. You don't have to hold all this.
Yeah, the importance of openness.
Yeah.
So now that your kids are grown,
big kids,
because we're on the higher end of midlife, how would you describe your physical changes?
Oh gosh. For one, if I could go back and talk to that 17-year-old girl who thought she was fat, I'd be like, girl, you are fine. Your 120-pound body is perfect. I would love to be that fat again. Now I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to be healthy and I want to be strong and I want to be fit just to have a healthy life. The imperfections aren't as important as they used to be, but I'm still vain enough to want to continue working on myself.
100%. For every reason.
Yeah. Even just to be comfortable, to enjoy shopping.
Although I've noticed now, and I think that has to do with our age, that midlife age, we've also lost both of our parents in the the last 7 years.
Yeah.
It is so in your face how you kind of have to address your own mortality.
Yeah.
And that,
Because it's coming.
what do you want to die of? I sure don't want it to be diabetes.
Nope, I don't want it to be diabetes if it means that I just incorporate chia seeds into everything to live a long, cancer-free life, then that's what I'll do. Chia seeds and flaxseed.
Keep making those overnight oats. Point I'm trying to make is just that you are caring about weight gain is what we're talking
Correct.
about. You start caring about, like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah.
This is not going to serve me
No.
later in life in any way, so I better do something about it.
Yeah.
Same goes for not just your physical appearance or your weight, but also your mental wellness.
Yeah.
That almost circles back to talking about being open about things.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be happy later and live well, I feel like this is such a great age in that it does bring all of that to your attention. You got to get your stuff together.
It's always on my mind, but I have noticed, and really this is just recent, that I have made a conscious decision to be kinder to myself and to give myself grace about, like, okay, if I'm going to eat healthy today and then I end up having burgers at night, that's fine. Tomorrow's a new day. You're not going to be perfect. Those little changes are really what's important. So I'm not so hard on myself. I don't feel so guilty because that doesn't serve you either.
Self-compassion, which I did not have until my 40s. Self-compassion. It's okay to not do everything perfectly. I think that is what I've loved actually about midlife in general is you don't give a hoot. There's such a freedom in it.
It is. Even at work, I do not care what people say about me. We're doing the right thing here. That it's very nice because you grow up just caring so much about what other people are going to think.
So we've talked about that our kids are older. Amy, yours are full-on adults. I have one teen left. Something that I have experienced is having focused so heavily on the family unit for so many years. And we also, might I add, grew our careers during all of this time too.
We did.
Thank
we
you
worked
very much.
really hard.
Yes, both of us.
We took the non-conventional way.
Yeah, Amy put herself through college and grad school while raising children. I also went back to school and started a business all during all of this time. I'm pretty proud of us for that segment.
We did it.
How do you identify yourself now?
Yeah.
When people ask you, what do you like? What do you answer?
I don't even know what to answer because I feel like, I got to think of something. Like in the opening, I said I love cooking. I really love cooking. And I'm very passionate about the Food Network, especially on Saturdays. Yeah, when people ask that question, that icebreaker question, what are your hobbies? I really don't even know what my hobbies are because my kids have been my hobbies for so long. Going to all the sporting events, going to all the concerts. So for years, that's been basically my hobby. That's been my focus, was making sure that they have everything they need and being there for all the things. So now is really the time that I'm trying to discover that. I don't even, to be honest, know where to begin. Well, what about you?
Oh, what do I like? Have to admit that one of the cool things about my job is meeting so many different people from such a large age range. And I admire millennial-moms for still hanging on to their interests. I think they do it better than Gen Xers. With that said, I found when I was focusing on the kids, I was also a little bit resentful of not getting to focus on myself at all. Something that I absolutely love doing is just going for walks, but not just like around the block. I like to go to like Lapham Peak and walk or Harrington or somewhere and go on a path and do a little forest bathing, as they call it now. I now, which I love, have the time to do it. The other thing that I have noticed, as far as interests go, I'm not turning into my mother. I'm turning into my mother-in-law, where like, I'm like, I think I'll buy another plant. Grow garden. I tore out a garden when we moved to this house and just put another one in.
I do like plants. I think for me too, I don't know if you found this at all, but when your kids are younger, from grade school into high school, so much of our time, like that was our social life. The games, like 3 times a week, basketball games. That's crazy. Traveling. I'm like, okay, it's time to really figure out what I like. I'd like to travel.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
And we are doing that. And that's was actually a fun thing to learn about us as older adults when we were able to travel more, how similarly we like to do vacation and travel, because you can't do that with just everybody.
No, you can't.
I think something to switch gears here a little bit more. We both had hysterectomies in our 30s.
Right. I remember the date, September 4th, 2008. For me, was a joyous day.
You were 34. That's so young.
Yeah, 34. Done having babies, so it was fine.
My period was horrendous since high school. Always a problem. It would last longer than 2 weeks and was super, super heavy up until the first year of college when I had to have that blood transfusion.
Yes.
The doctors I was going to, they were old school male doctors who were like, "You're just stressed out." And I was like, "No.
You're depressed.
I'm just losing blood."
So anyway.
Which causes me to then be depressed because I don't have enough blood.
I could be dying. Anyway, so it was always a struggle. And then once we were done having kids, it was like I had my period for 10 months, minus maybe 2 days each month I didn't have it.
So that's a stress on your marriage and your body.
So when I was scheduled to have that hysterectomy, I was like, "Thank you, uterus. You served me well. It's time to go."
Bye, girl. But you still have your ovaries.
Still have my ovaries.
Have you hit perimenopause?
Yeah. A little transparency here. I made a doctor's appointment because I haven't seen my physician in a minute. And so I was telling like some years. And so maybe about 3-4 years. So it's not horrible, but it's not good. But I really need to know what is going on with my body and just to know what to expect. How long does this last? I don't know. I'm like back at the person who just got her period and didn't know what to do about it. But now I'm a grown up and that's uncalled for. So yeah, I guess, I've got the hot flashes. I will say that I have noticed, because I still had my ovaries. I do notice a change where, because before I would still get the monthly cravings and I would still be moody for a couple of days. So I knew when I had my quote unquote period, because I would still go through like the ovulation. And anyway, so I've noticed that I don't have that anymore. I don't have those cravings anymore. Heart is gone. My breasts don't get sore anymore. That was always my signal. I do notice that I get irritable. It's funny what you think about when you're really irritable. Recognize what's going on in your brain isn't often reality.
Our mom was like in total denial about menopause. Mm-hmm. And so she thought you could treat it by just eating more broccoli. She was crazy. The irritability, nobody tells you that it actually does affect your mental health. Super important to continue to take care of yourself and to talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah. How about you?
I was 37 when I had my hysterectomy.
But you had a full.
Yeah. My experience was even before kids, I had a ton of pain with my periods. And then throughout my 30s, the pain became more and more intense. And actually, it was before I got married, and I got married young. So I think I was 24. My doctor, before I got married, had suspected that I might have endometriosis just based on symptoms. However, the solution at the time was to just put you on birth control. And I don't really know if that helped, but that's what you did. So I dutifully did it.
Right.
Because it wasn't just pain, like sometimes vomit, I'd have diarrhea. And then after kids, the symptoms got worse and worse. And then I was bleeding in between periods. Really, I went to a new doctor and was like, we have to do something about this. The solution was to prescribe me, I don't know, some antidepressant. I'm like, this doesn't matter.
Were you seeing a male or a female doc?
A female, but that doesn't matter. I think this is what the protocol
you
can't.
Was the norm.
Yeah. And also, I knew when I complained about the birth control not really helping symptoms, the doctor that I was seeing at that time, which is actually why I left, she was just like, no, you should have no symptoms, therefore no. And then when I went to a new doctor, she suggested antidepressants. And then the doctor that I ended up with, she had suggested I do a ultrasound, and that was on my 35th birthday. Anyway, yeah, so they found a fibroid tumor. They're like, let's pursue this. Then it turned into the only way they could see it is surgical. So I did that surgery. I had 3 surgeries in 7 months.
Oh, I remember.
And the ovaries went out when I was 37. 0 recommends for that.
Yeah. So, and all of that, where was your mental health at?
Turns out my response to general anesthesia is depression. But then by the 3rd time, you're like, okay, I know what's coming. I need people was the biggest thing. And I need to set my boundaries about what I can and can't do. So anyway, neither of us have our...
No, we're uterus free.
Yeah. And I've been in menopause since 37.
Yes. Because I still
Different
have
journey.
had my ovaries. Mine was more of a natural progression into. So how was that for you being thrown into menopause? How was that for you? Because, you always expect your life to go a certain way.
Socially, it sucked because the women you're with are sharing other things, and you're
Right.
like, yeah, it's great not having your period. I'm not gonna lie, that is awesome.
Sure
You
is.
don't have to plan around vacations anymore, or
No.
plan your vacations around it. But just that shared experience with other women when they're still talking about periods. And I always thought that I wanted 2 children. Kevin wanted 3. The option was taken, and so that was hard. But with that said, going into the wellness portion of it, because I went to surgical menopause, you're guided from your doctor right away. They tell you, here's everything you might experience. Please speak up if you're feeling any of these. Also, your symptoms may change, which by the way, they do.
See, so
It's a constant conversation that you have to have of like, hey, I've been on this, but now I'm noticing my hot flashes are starting to come back. No big deal. Let's just change your dose.
I do remember you did say, hey, when this time of your life comes, just know, and I don't know if this is scientifically true, that typically whatever your mother experiences could be similar to what you may experience.
That's, to sum up, I think it almost was, I don't want to say easier, but I was guided.
Yeah, because it was part of your treatment.
Yeah, any change that I noticed, to be aware, to just say something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be terrible. What are your experiences with other women in your life besides me?
Well, our sisters-in-law are wonderful. We're really blessed that way. We really, really are. But I think as far as friends go, I have a very small group of friends. Their experiences are very similar. One friend in particular, she had her hysterectomy just months before mine. So that was kind of nice too, to have someone who had just gone through it. So if I was feeling some kind of pain in my ovaries, I was ovulating, but we would just, at least we could make a joke about it. It's been nice to have one friend who experienced the same thing. We called it the uterus free club because there were a few of us. And then some wanted to join.
What do you do now? Okay, so you're going to the doctor, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you're doing to support your physical health?
Walking more, some chia seeds in the overnight oats. I really just am more mindful about what I'm choosing to feed myself. I allow myself to have treats and whatnot. I don't really put a lot of pressure on myself not to. I'm just more mindful about it. I'm always aware of my mental health. Being a social worker and having that mental health focus, I'm very mindful of self-care, strong boundaries, disconnecting from work and enjoying your weekend. I know nothing is going to change from Friday to Monday. I know I'm no good to myself or others if I don't. I know if I eat like garbage during the day, I'm going to feel like garbage and tired. So if I want to be productive at work and aware and awake, then I need to eat healthy during the day.
I've been focusing more on mental health, really. The physical things that I'm doing are more for my mental health, I would say right now. And it's not that there's anything major going on. It's just being more aware of how inundated we are. Everything. Even though our kids are older, it just means their issues
are different,
are more complex.
Correct.
Where you wish you had the diapers because that was a clean it and it's done. But now it's more complex. I care more about my mental health. I'm really just practicing more of what I preach. And then if I have an extra minute at work, which lately I've been carving out actually before I start the day, to center myself and meditate, even if it's for 5 minutes, just to do some good breath work, I actually feel more energized. What advice do you have for me? Or what do you see?
I think that sometimes to my detriment, but I sometimes I think it's a good thing too. I think just continue giving yourself grace, and that if something is not perfect, that's okay. If something doesn't work out just right, that's okay, because in the grand scheme of life, is it really going to matter? But that's also the pot calling the kettle black, because I also put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm always striving for perfection. So my thing that I would say to you is just continue to give yourself grace.
As we get older, what do you see for us as sisters? How do you want to dig deeper into our sisterhood? Okay, so wait, we just need to digress a little bit. Okay. We do have a thing called Sister Vibes.
Sister Vibes Weekend.
So this goes
Yes.
right into our sister
It does.
vibes, which is like a bonding weekend that we do every year.
Yes.
To get back to this, how do we dig deeper into our sister vibes?
Okay, our weekend away, that's really fun. I think that has been great just to be like women, talking about women things. So to dig deeper into our relationship, I think that is just like continuing to do the things we like to do together, talk about being more like what I was saying before, being more transparent with each other about things that are going on. You don't have to carry the load yourself. So continuing to grow in that way, kind of going back into how we were as kids, where we did share everything, the good, bad, and the ugly.
I'll agree. I want to just continue sharing. I feel like right now in the last couple of years, we've really grown deeper as far as you said, becoming more open. And I want to continue that. Amy's actually going through some potentially life-altering things in her life right now. Ha, shoot.
You said no crying.
No, I did. No. But I want you to fight to stay open so that I can support. I see older women and just the adorableness and the lifelong bond that's implied that you see with them. Like, I want that for us. I want to continue our openness, our love, our respect for each other. I admire you so very much.
Oh, you too.
Thanks. And then I want to continue, like we done tonight, and we do it all the time, actually, just talking about where we are with things, if it's physical or mental or relationships, to have that unspoken go-to support. It's invaluable.
I think that we should add to the Sister Wives, Sister Vibes weekend, we should add a topic of conversation. What do you admire about each other?
So in the next chapter, what's one thing you could ask of me?
I think it would be really just to continue growing into whoever we're supposed to be, like staying with each other on that journey, supporting each other. There would be nothing new that I would need from you, because I think that we give each other whatever we need at that moment. But I'll let you know if I think of something else.
Hey, thanks. I'm going to say this. Stop sending me stupid Instagram videos.
Oh my gosh! Someone has to share in this joy.
I don't need it.
No. Yes, wait till I start sending you pictures of birds.
Nope. So stop with the Instagram videos. Maybe just limit to one a day, please.
I'll be saving a lot. We'll leave that one for Tuesday.
Yes. No, I just like kind of what we were already saying. It would just be to continue the openness. I really love, we've said it so many times that I feel like it implies that there's some secrets going on. There really aren't. It's just more of, I think that we're more vulnerable.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. More vulnerable. We trust each other enough that we can, and we know we're not going to be judged. We trust each other enough that we can be super supportive. And I know that you would be that person that if I needed you to, you'd be like, get in the car, Amy. I've got the bat in the trunk.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you.
Me too. Well, this was fun.
It is fun. Amy, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Amy, thank you. I love you so much.
I love you too.
We're probably going to talk again tomorrow.
We probably are. We probably are. Maybe I'll just start calling you.
Nope, I won't answer.
Oh.
But I do love you, and I appreciate this conversation.
I do too. This was fun.
Yes.
It's a good
Thank
combo.
you.
Yep.
Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Thanks for joining us today. We invite you to hit subscribe and to keep coming back each week for a new empowering conversation between sisters. We look forward to seeing you at our website, where you'll find our newsletter and other amazing resources. Visit interwoven.com. That's interwovxn.com to sign up today. This show's copyright is October of 2022. We want to thank our sponsors and affiliates, as well as our producers, Teresa Kopak, Rebecca Jankowski, and Jen Gilmore of Soundfort Studios. All original music was created and performed by Colleen Webb.